Hey guys, welcome to our Kiwi Garden. We've just been out to a local big box, Bunnings, here in New Zealand. We went to the dead plant section, or the place where they put plants to mark down and maybe go to die. And I found some tomatoes and some peppers, capsicum, call it what you like. I was going to pick up a tequila capsicum, which is sadly not like tequila but just purple, and they were $8 for a plant that was in great condition. And then off to the dead plant aisle we go, and we found the same tequila capsicum with a tiny bit of slug damage on some of the leaves for $3. So we put the full price one back, got that, found a candy cane capsicum, which is a long one that's kind of stripy. I'll show you the plant tags, and 3 tomatoes for $1 each. So I was going to spend $8 on one capsicum, and I ended up spending, I'm trying to do math in my head really quickly, $9. So $3 each for 2 capsicum and $1 each for 3 tomatoes. So yeah, I got 5 plants for $1 more than I was going to spend on one capsicum. So, and there's nothing wrong with these guys. The tomatoes are a bit leggy, but strip the bottom leaves off, plant it deep, give it some food, and they'll come away. Tomatoes are actually pretty forgiving, provided they get enough of the good stuff they need, like water and sunlight and airflow. So yeah, I'll pop you guys around and I will show you the dead plant haul. They're not dead, they look great, but from the dead plant aisle. Here we go. This was the dollar tomato. This is a dewdrop cluster tomato, and he is really long. He's even got a flower on it. Apologies, they're in the back of the truck. Haven't unpacked them yet. And here is the capsicum purple tequila one that I was talking to you about. See, $3, crazy. And it's just got a little bit of slug damage on these leaves. Nothing that new growth won't fix. This is the candy cane capsicum. Again, a little bit of slug damage on the leaves. They could be a tiny bit wet in their pots, so when I pop them in the garden I will just see if I can rough up the, oh, there was a leaf. I'll see if I can just rough up the soil and maybe take a little bit of that really damp potty mix off. Here is another tomato for $1. This is Aroma acid free tomato, and as you can see he's pretty sturdy. He just kind of needs a little bit of staking love, I think. And this one over here, just climbing over the boards we've got down here. Turn him around. And this one here is a Sweet 100 for $1. He's looking really great. Tangled up with some lavender. And again, he just needs staking, as does this cluster tomato. Huge, tall. So yeah, I'm going to go and find places in the garden for these, put some good stuff in the soil and the raised beds around them, and we'll give them a feed and they should be good to go. How exciting. 5 plants, $9 in place of 1 plant for $8. What a find. Okay, hopefully you can hear me from this far away, but I've decided to put the 2 capsicums just here. These are in the raised beds, which are 1.8 by 60 1.8 long by 60 centimeters wide. So across, so widthwise, there's 2 square feet of planting space. So 1 capsicum per square foot. I do have a calendula in here, which I'm going to just dig up and sort of pop in the middle here a little bit more, just to give these plants a little bit more room to grow. So I'll do that in a moment. But what I'm going to put in, this is a brand new bed, so it's got plenty of goodness in the soil, but I am going to put in some superphosphate just to help get their roots growing really nicely, and some sheep pellets down deep, so that as the season progresses, because these are kind of longer term maturity things, they take, we'll be getting hopefully capsicums off these in sort of February, March, so they'll take a little while, so I want them to have plenty of food for their roots to access down there in the raised beds. So I'll do that. And then, as I said before, I'll just check when I take them out that they're not too damp, so the root ball isn't like all soggy and soaking and stinky, because that's bad for the plant. Yeah, so I'll get into that and show you what I've done when I finished. It's really important when you are moving things around in your garden to try and get as much of the root ball as possible. Generally these things don't mind being moved, as long as you can keep them nicely watered and you don't damage the roots too much when you do move them. So that's the calendula moved. Move these out the way, and we'll dig a nice big hole here. It's so fluffy, the soil. It's pretty great. New raised beds are really cool. So I'll put some sheep pellets in the bottom. Just a little handful. Give it a little mix. A little bit of this. It's got like the tiniest hole in the top. Again, give that a tiny mix. And we'll pop this one out. This is the purple tequila. Pop it out. It's got really nice roots here going down the side. The soil doesn't seem too bad. Doesn't smell weird. Some of these bargain plants have been sitting there for a while in water, and they can just need a little bit more love when you put them in your garden. But this one looks pretty okay. So he's in, and we'll do the same over this side here. Tiny bit of stuff for the roots and some sheep pellets in there. And again, this is the candy cane, I think, yeah, candy cane pepper. Take him out. This one here looks wet on the top, pretty dry around the bottom, so we'll give him a really good water in. You see all the soil starting to fall away, but it looks as though some really great roots in there. Just pop that in there. Knock the camera there. Pat them down. And they come with these little stakes. So when they're laden with fruit, they can get quite heavy and need a little bit of support in terms of a stake. So obviously this is not really going to do it when it's a bit bigger, but it's a great thing to have in there just at the moment while it roots itself in, and it'll help keep it nice and stable. So yay. That's 2 capsicum in the ground. Maybe I should put the tags in so that I remember which is which. Although technically when the fruit grow, we should clearly be able to see which is which, being that one's purple and one's stripy. Hope I held them up in the right order. So here they are planted. The calendula's just there, so you can see quite a nice bed just there. So now we've got the 3 $1 tomatoes to plant. I'm a bit short on stakes, but I do have a grove of bamboo. So I'm going to go and cut some stakes and stake my very leggy tomatoes up with those. I'll show you where I'm going. Okay, so here is the bamboo. It's tall. We really need to cut it out, get rid of it, because it's blocking the sun to this corner. As you can see, if we push our way in here, there's some jasmine in here as well, and at night you can smell this. It's beautiful. Invasive but beautiful. We'll get rid of that as well. So you can see in here we've got some bamboo. I'll be able to cut this out, strip the things off, and use it as a stake. They won't sprout once you have taken them off the root base. So a pretty safe and repurposed way to use what is a pain in the butt in our garden. So I'm going to try and get 3 of these for the 3 tomatoes that we have. Okay, so here we have it. 3 nice big stakes. Clearly I've got some cutting ahead of me to do. So I'll clean them up, show you what they turn out like. So here you go. I have 3 nice long strong stakes. I feel like these are going to be stronger than the ones you buy that are already dried. After like a season or 2 they tend to snap on me. The bits that are in the ground kind of snap off at ground level, and they can be quite hard to get out if you lose them in the ground, and they can be quite pokey if you don't get them out. So yeah, I've got 3 big beautiful fresh green ones here, all stripped off, and they're really tall, which is awesome. You're not limited by the size in the garden centre, just what's in your bamboo plot. So I feel pretty good about reusing what is already there. So I'll pop them with the tomatoes, and I'll show you what I do to try and rescue these tomatoes that I got for $1. Kind of squished into the corner here, but this is where I'm popping this one. This is the Sweet 100. It's got a nice tall stake. So again, this one's a bit wilty, so I need to get it in the ground to give it some water and some food. So I'm just going to dig a nice big hole as deep as I can, because remember, I'm going to strip the side leaves off this and plant this as deep as I can, so that most of its stalk is in contact with as much of the ground as I can, so that the roots can basically be taking up a lot of the space and taking in lots of nutrients. So again, just a few sheep pellets, a little bit of their superphosphate fertilizer, which is the P and the NPK of your fertilizer. It just helps the roots develop a little bit more ferociously. So as you can see, I'm going to snap these off, and I'm going to put it as deep as I possibly can. There we go. And I've got most of that plant actually, and I've covered up the spring onions. That's okay, they'll be fine. There we go. So stake ready to go for when it needs it. And I might get Tom to come out here a little bit later and help me maybe get it through the weed mat into the actual native soil, because these are quite shallow beds. But yeah, Sweet 100 for $1, ready to grow. I may water these in with some seaweed fertilizer, I think, just to give them a little bit of extra love. I'll show you where I'm putting the next one. Okay, one final plant. It's in a bit of a strange location right next to a jalapeno and our kale garden. Two massive kale plants that have just gone crazy. They obviously love their life where they are. So just the normal, dig a big hole. This is a bit of an older garden. The raised beds have been in for 3 years here. We're going to get a bit more love in terms of what we put back into the soil. Take this one out. This jalapeno really is in a bad position. And you can see great roots. Just a tad dry in here. I am going to pop off the same treatment as before. The side shoots here. Just put all your tomato stuff in a pile. Make sure that whatever you pop off goes into the bin. You don't want to leave tomato bits lying around, because there could be diseases on these leaves, etc., blight, that you don't want to transfer into your garden. If you are pinching the laterals out to pop them in your garden for more shoots, pop them in straight away so they don't wilt. So again, we're going to try and get them in. Backfill. Poked by the jalapeno. Now I didn't actually get too much under the ground. It's quite a long stem, but I might just bring this a tad closer. Push it down. There you go. Now I will go and get a rubber tie for this tomato just to help it settle in, because it is quite rangy, and we should be good to go with a happy plant. I'll go grab that tie and then we will do a bit of a tour. Got to put this in. And seriously, I think that might be enough tomatoes for this season. It's a little twisty. It's rubber with a bit of wire in there, or foam. Or you can use old stockings or something like that. But now he's just nice and secure. There's a little bit of room for it to move, but not enough for it to fall over. Hopefully it grows well. Alright, so they're in. I'll show you where they are. P.S. These are the clippers that I used, and they're rubbish. So if anybody's got any recommendations for some good ones, drop them in the comments. I'll give them a go. Okay, so these are where our veggies ended up. We've got 2 capsicum here, the tequila and the candy stripe. And remember, we moved the calendula. Walking around over here, we have a very wilty looking sweet 100. It'll be fine, it'll perk up. Over here we have the Roma, looking good. Here we have the awkwardly placed dewdrop cluster tomato on brand new bamboo stakes. And here is the view from the entrance to these new beds. So pretty stoked with what we've done today. Rescued some plants, saved some money, and repurposed some annoying bamboo from our mess behind our fence. So I'll go water them in, leave them alone. Hopefully we'll get some sun, and yeah, I'll give you an update as they grow. Thanks for joining me in the garden today. Hope you had fun. I certainly did. I'm going to go wash my hands after I've watered these guys in. See you later.